Yesterday I asked you to write a program which will take username and password. First you have to write a HTML file which will take username and password. Once I submit this, it is going to log in. This is the URL pattern of the servlet, not the servlet name. So login servlet. Here you can get that by using request.get parameter. You got the parameters. Now I asked you to save this name, username and password in database. So what you need to do is you have to, anyway I have already written the code for getting name and password. You have to insert it into table by using JDBC code. So many of you have done in this way. Let us see whether it is the best way or not. I'll try to do it. I'll show you. Here what I'll do is class dot for name. What is the driver name? Tell me. com.mysql.jdbc.driver. So this is throwing class not found exception. Class not. Tell me, can I make my doGet to throw class not found exception? Yeah, why? Why no? Why yes? My doGet method is already declaring that it is throwing servlet exception, IO exception. Now this line is causing class not found exception. Yes, my doGet method should not throw any extra exception, because you remember the rule while overriding? While overriding, the overridden method should not throw any extra exceptions than present in the superclass. In superclass, doGet method is throwing only these two exceptions. In subclass, while overriding, this doGet method should not declare that it throws any extra exception. So I should catch it. Okay, I'll keep it in try catch block. Surround with try catch. Okay, so I'll make this catch block to take exception so that it will catch all the exceptions. Right? Okay, now after loading, what this will do, tell me, in JDBC? This will, class.forName will load this class, right? Once this class is loaded, in the static block of this class, there is a code which will create an object of driver and register this driver with driver manager. Already in JDBC we have understood. Driver manager dot register driver. The single step is doing two things. Inside the static block of this driver class, it is registering it with driver manager. Okay, first step is class.forName. But this driver, where is it present? It is present in MySQL connector jar. I have to keep it inside web by NFlib. In web applications, all the libraries should be present in web by NFlib. Even if you add it to build path of the project, like right clicking on it, like whatever we have done in our JDBC, right clicking on the project, properties, Java build path, add jars. If you do like this, the jar will be added to class path of your project. This is not the way for web applications. In web applications, you should not add it to build path, you should add it inside web by NF lib directory. Okay, here this is my web application. Inside it I have lib. I have to copy MySQL connector jar inside it. Okay, I'll just open that MySQL connector jar. Yeah, this is the one, MySQL connector jar. I'll copy and paste it here. Okay, remember, don't forget this. All the jars, if you find any class not found exception when running, you check whether the library is present inside web NFlib or not. Okay, this is a very big hint. Okay, once this is done, I'll write the SQL for inserting. String SQL is equals to insert into users. I am expecting a table name as users. Users of name, comma, password, values of values of question mark comma question mark, right? Then I need to get a connection, driver manager dot get connection. While getting connection, I need to pass three things: URL, username, password. Username and password for my database are root and root. Just I'll give both. And then the URL is jdbc://localhost/ the database name is, I don't remember the database name, testdb. Yeah, I have it, testdb. Okay, then I'll take it in connection. See, always import the connection from java.sql. Connection is equals to, then connection dot, should I use prepared statement or statement? Prepared statement is better because performance is good. If I use prepared statement, I told advantages. Tell me, what is the advantage of using prepared statement?
Same query need not be executed.
When you are executing same query multiple times with different values, same query multiple times with different values. If you are using prepared statement, what the prepared statement will tell the server is cache the compiled version of query. So second time when you fire the same query, the server, the database server, will be using the cached query. It will not do all the steps like parsing, optimizing, compiling, etc. So when you are using prepared statement, it will be better in performance because the the query will be cached on the server side. Okay, and it will be even easy to pass values. I just can use question marks. I can replace these question marks at runtime. Okay. Okay. Now what I'll do is I'll say connection dot prepare statement, and I'll pass the SQL. I will be getting a prepared statement object. Then see, there are two question marks before firing this. Okay, to fire the query, what I have to do? Prepared statement dot execute update. I have to call this. If I call this statement, SQL statement will be fired. But before firing, I have to set the values for this question marks. So to set it, name is varchar, password is also varchar. So what I can do is I can say prepared statement dot. There are a lot of setter methods. If you want to set int type, you have to call setInt. If you want to set varchar, for varchar corresponding thing in Java is string. So you have to call set string. Set string at which question mark? First question mark. What is the value? Name. Right? Set first question mark. I am setting name. Prepared statement dot set again. Password is also string. So set string at what? Second question mark. Second question mark password. Whatever I got, the variable I am passing. Whatever I stored inside this variables. And then execute, it will execute, that's all. Then what I can do is I can print. See what I am doing after this? I am printing whatever name and password have been stored. Okay, that's all, it will execute. But now in my database there should be a table called users. So what I will do is I will just create a table by using SQL yoke. TestDB. Okay, I have test is my database, so I will remove here DB. Okay, here I will create a table. Here it is, what is the first one? Name comma password of the column names. Name, it's of type varchar of length some 50, and password It's also of type varchar of type some 50. Creating a table users. See, this is the easiest way. Using SQL Log is the easiest way to create a table. See, now data nothing are there. Now I will run this program and show you what will happen. I will use the external browser Firefox. So first page I have to give is login.html. It's giving username and password. I will say username is say Siva and password is Prasad. Once I submit, yeah, I got the output. So the request went to the servlet and servlet should have stored in the database. Now I will just refresh it. Yeah, it is stored in the database. That's what I want. Is this the best program? This is the worst program I have written. Because whenever I give a request, this doGet method is executed, right? If 1000 clients give a request to same servlet, how many threads? 1000 threads are created, right? 1000 times doGet is created, right? How many connections are established? 1000 connections are established. So when 1000 clients are there, 1000 connections to database is established. Is it a good way? So it is not a good way to establish a connection whenever required. What if we can reuse the same connection for multiple requests? Yes, it is good, because establishing a connection is a very costly resource. Like suppose if your database server is somewhere at some other location, it has to connect over the network, internet. The connection is very costly to establish. So you should not create connections inside doGet method, because doGet method will get executed for every request. So if this statement is here, get connection will be established for each and every request, which is not good, right? Now tell me, which is the method in servlet called during initialization? Tell me. Init method is called during initialization, right? So init servlet is initialized 1000 times if I give 1000 requests. Correct? True or false? I am giving 1000 requests to the same servlet. 1000 clients are giving requests to same servlet. So servlet's init method is called 1000 times. Only one time. Servlet is initialized only once. Only for the first request servlet will be initialized. Second time onwards, same servlet will be used. Right? Again I am repeating now. If 1000 clients are accessing, giving a request for login servlet, how many objects of servlets will be created on the server? 1000 objects. Sure. Only one. Only one object of servlet is created. Even 1000 threads are created. Yesterday we discussed about thread safety also. So if 1000 clients are making a request to same servlet, only one servlet will be created. First time whenever request comes for the servlet object will be created and it will be initialized. Second time onwards, for second request onwards, same servlet will be reused, right? So even though there are 1000 requests, only one servlet object will be there, and only one time init method will be called, right? So if I keep this connection creation inside init method, will it not be good? Yes. Okay. So now can't I override init method now? See, there are two init methods which are inherited from generic servlet. One init method which is taking servlet config as parameter, and one init method which is not taking anything as parameter. Okay. So let us assume, so what I will do is I will just override this init method. Okay. So whenever container calls init method, it will call this init method, right? For initialization, this init method is called, right? So if I write any code inside this init method, it will be executed only once. So what I will do is I will make my connection as instance variable here. Private connection and this line first of all class.forName also, this also should be kept here. First line is throwing some exceptional, catch it and change this to exception so that this will catch all exceptions. Then the next step also, this one, I'll cut it and paste it here, and this will become a local variable if I leave like this. Now I am initializing the instance variable now here inside the init method. Okay. So now, is it best way again? I have created connection, initialized connection inside init method. Init method is called only once. So better to create a connection object here inside the init method is what I told right now, right? But is it good way again? Okay. But what about here prepared statement? Every time I give a request, a new prepared statement object is created, right? So I can keep these two lines also inside the init method. So prepared statement is created only once. Same statement is reused. Same statement object is reused with different values. Okay. Now what I'll do is I'll just keep this code also here. These two lines. Cut and then I will paste here, and prepared statement I'll make it as a instance variable. So here I am in the init method, I am initializing the prepared statement, and here in doGet what I am doing, I am replacing the question marks. So see the scenario here. Let's assume that I am giving a first request. Now I started my server. I am giving the first request. When a first request comes for servlet, servlet should be initialized. So init method will be called. Okay. Init method will be called, and this prepared statement object is created. Connection also is created, right? So statement is having two question marks. Statement should not be directly executed. Before executing, the question mark should be replaced with those values, right? Now if I give a request after initialization, doGet will be called finally. If I give a get request, so here what am I doing? Getting the request parameters, username and password, setting question mark 1 with name, question mark 2 with password, and then executing it, right? So this is the best way of doing it. In the init method, we have to write all the code which should be executed only once during the life cycle of a servlet. Okay. Now I created a connection here. Don't you think that connection should be closed? Right? So connection should be closed once this servlet object is destroyed. So we can keep the connection close statement inside destroy method. In servlet class there is a method called destroy. Here what I can do is I can write connection dot close. This connection dot close is throwing some exceptions, so I'll catch it. Okay. So this is a good program. This appears to be a good program, but it's not still. So now let us try to understand when destroy method is called. Tell me, when will this destroy method be called? Who will call? Container will call. Servlet container will call the destroy method. Who is calling init method? Container only is calling. When is the init method called? During initialization. When our first request comes, during initialization init method is called, right? So when our first request comes, init method is called. First servlet object is created, init method is called, servlet object will be there in the memory. Second request I give, same object, same servlet object which is already initialized will be used. Third request, same servlet object will be used, right? How long should this servlet be in memory? I said only one servlet object will be created. Right. Now let's assume that I started my web application right now. I gave a first request. Servlet object is created and it is in memory. How long should it be in memory? Until server stops. Okay. I'll tell you a scenario. Now there are 100 different servlet classes in my application. Now in this case only one servlet. Login servlet is there, let's assume. Here login servlet is there, hello servlet is there, two servlets are there. In one web application there can be 100 different servlet classes, right? Now when the application started, I gave a first request to login servlet. Object is there in the memory. Object of login servlet is there in the memory. For the first time whenever I give a request, object is created. Now until next 1 hour or 2 hours, no request comes for the same servlet. The requests are coming for other servlets, but requests are not coming for this servlet. And the server is requires a lot of memory to process other requests. Memory is not sufficient. At some point of time, container decides, oh, this servlet object is unnecessarily lying there in the memory. Even though no requests are coming for this login servlet for 2 hours, it is unnecessarily lying in the memory. I require more memory for executing other requests. So what the container can do is it can decide to destroy it. So before destroying, the container will call destroy method. Right? Can you tell exactly when destroy method is called? No. It is the decision of the container based on various factors like memory consumption, CPU time, etc., etc., etc. Based on various conditions, the container will decide, according to its internal algorithm, container will decide whether to destroy a servlet or not. We cannot say when it is destroyed exactly, right? It is up to the container. Before container destroys your servlet, before destroying it, it will call the destroy method and then destroy, right? Any doubts? So now if somebody asks you, what is the life cycle of a servlet? Whenever I give a first request, init method is called, and for each and every request, service method is called, right? And before the servlet is destroyed, destroy method is called. So this is the life cycle of a servlet. These are the 3 life cycle methods of a servlet. So life cycle methods of a servlet are init, service, destroy. Okay, I will change the statement. Life cycle methods of a servlet are init, do get, destroy. True or false? Yeah, because if the client gives a post request, do get is never called. So we cannot say do get is part of life cycle. Service is part of life cycle. Service is called always. Yes. So do get we cannot say do get is part of life cycle. It is internally called. But do get may be called or may not be called. If I give a post request, do post will be called, do get will not be called, right? So if somebody asks you life cycle of a servlet, init method, when the servlet is initialized, first method will be called, then service, and then destroy. These are 3 life cycle methods of a servlet. Okay. Now tell me, in your Accenture, your passwords expire after every 60 days, right? 75 days. So I think 75 days is not completed for you, right? Yes. Okay, your password didn't expire. I saw in some other batches like passwords are getting expired, and just before you start your exam, your password will not work. So in companies, passwords will be changing at regular intervals. So now let's assume my database is there. According to the company policy, the database password also has to be changed at regular intervals after 75 days or so. So if password changes, should I change my source code or not? See, here I am hard coding username and password or not, right? So if password changes tomorrow, I have to open the source code, change it, recompile it, and then redeploy the application. Is it not? Is it good? So after every 75 days, I have to change the code, source code, update the password, again recompile it, and then deploy it again. So it is not good to change code, because changing a single line of code may introduce lot of bugs, and testers will die. They cannot go. See, as a developer, whatever change you do, you have to do unit testing. Developers will be doing unit testing, right? And then it should be given for final testing to the tester. So even when I was working in product company, you should avoid changing the code as much as possible, because even a small change may introduce a lot of bugs we don't know, right? So we should not hard code the password here. Hard coding the password is causing me to change the source code every time whenever password changes. So I should not hard code the password here, right? So I should configure password somewhere else, and the same password should be obtained here, right? Okay. Now the alternate is, instead of hard coding the password, what I can do is going to web.xml. In login servlet, this is the servlet tag for login servlet. Here in this login servlet tag, what I will do is I will write a tag called init param, and I will write param name pass wd param value root. Okay. So inside servlet tag, I have written a tag called init param. Tell me, whatever is present inside this servlet tag can be accessed through which object? Servlet config. This is servlet configuration, right? I have configured my servlet here. Whatever is present inside the servlet tag can be accessed by using servlet config, right? So let me show you how to access this init param now. As I told yesterday, where is the body for init method given inside which class? Tell me. Generic servlet or HTTP servlet? Inside generic servlet, init method was given body, right? Which we are inheriting. Is it? And inside generic servlet, servlet config is a private variable, and this init method was storing whatever I am passing, whatever is passed by the container in a private variable, right? And in the subclass, will I be able to access this private variable? No. So how to get the reference of servlet config? There is a method I told you here, get servlet config, a public method called get servlet config, which will be returning you. So here what I can do is I can call get servlet config. It is inherited from generic servlet. It is returning me an object of servlet config. Okay. Config cells I use CFG. Okay. Now once I get config object, I'll use CFG dot get init parameter. Inside servlet tag I use init param tag. get init parameter. If I pass the name of the init parameter, what is the name I gave here? Pass WD. So if I pass this one, I'll be getting the password which I configured inside the XML file. String password is equals to. So instead of hard coding the password here, what I can do is I can use this variable, right? See now what I have achieved. If tomorrow password changes, I need not modify the .java file. If I don't modify .java file, I need not compile it, recompile it, right? What I can do is I can just modify web.xml here. Here is the password, right? I can just modify web.xml. What my code is doing here? My code is getting it from the web.xml only, right? Config.get init parameter is reading from that XML file only, right? So I avoided hard coding. Okay. So this is the way to get initialization parameters inside a servlet. Okay, and I have some few more questions here. Can I call get servlet config inside doGet method also? Get servlet config, I can call this method and I can take it in a reference variable config, servlet config is equals to, okay, I can call it, right? But now will this work or not? Will this config object be pointing to servlet config object or not? Now in this case, see here, I have overridden init method which is taking servlet config as parameter, right? See actually if I have overridden, this only will be called. Whenever container calls init method, overridden method will always be called, right? So this will be called. So the init method which is present in generic servlet, init method which is taking servlet config as parameter is also present in generic servlet. Will it be called? No, it will not be called. See, this is the pseudo code which I wrote. So you mean to say this method will not be called, which is present inside generic servlet. If this method is not called, what will be the value inside servlet config here? Null. It will not be initialized. It will be null, right? So whenever you are calling get servlet config, what is it returning? Null. Here is null. If that init method is not called, it is having null. So whenever you call get servlet config, it's returning null, right? So what you understood is, whenever you are overriding init method, if you override init method which is taking servlet config as parameter, the init method which is present in generic servlet is not called. So if that is not called, what is the disadvantage? Here in doGet method, if I call get servlet config, it will be returning me null value, which should not be the case. So what I should do is, if I override init method which is taking super servlet config as parameter, what I should do is I should call super dot init and pass the config object, right? If I call super dot init, then the init method which is present in super class, the generic servlet also will be called. Now everything should be fine, right? Yes. So what you understood? Whenever you are overriding init method, if you override init method which is taking servlet config as parameter, you should not forget to call super.init. If you forget to call super.init, servlet config object will be null. If you forget to call super.init, this method will not be called, which is present in super class will not be called. So servlet config object will be null, right? But see here in generic servlet, I told there are two init methods. One init method which is taking servlet config as parameter, and another init method which is not taking anything, right? Dummy init method, empty body, right? So tell me, container will be calling this one, right? If this method is called, it is internally calling this method, right? So what I can do in my login servlet is, instead of overriding this init method which is taking servlet config as parameter, I can override init method which is not taking any parameter. So now let us see what are the implications. Let's assume I am giving a first request for my login servlet. The servlet should be initialized. Container will try to call init method which is taking servlet config as parameter. Inside my login servlet, is there init method which is taking servlet config as parameter? No, it is present in superclass. So the one which is inherited from superclass will be called. So this method will be called, it is calling init method, right? But in my login servlet I have overridden it. So always overridden method will be called. So now this init method will be called, and this initialization code also gets executed. So what is the lesson you learned? When initializing, don't override init method which is taking servlet config as parameter. It is always better to override init method which is not taking any parameters. Okay, but can you override init method which is taking servlet config as parameter? Yes, you can override, but you should not forget to call super.init. If you forget to call super.init, config object will be null. Okay. Okay. Anyway, you are not asking any doubts. I will ask doubts and I will clarify myself. See, if you have a class, where do you write? Forget about servlets. Talk about core Java. Where do you write initialization code for an object? Constructor. Can I write a constructor for my login servlet? A constructor which is not taking any parameters? Yes. Why can't I write the same code which I wrote here inside init method, inside constructor? Generally constructor is for initialization. And I told, if you want to write initialization code for your servlet, you have to write inside init method. Am I not wrong? Why can't I write the same code inside my constructor of my servlet? How many times constructor is called? Only once, when object is created. How many times init method is called? Only once, right? So both are called only once, and both are called before the service method is executed for the first time also. So my question is, why can't I write the same code inside a constructor? Why do I require init method for initialization of a servlet? See, generally servlet will be called whenever the servlet will be created when the first request comes. Okay, there is some alternative also. Generally whenever first request comes, servlet will be created. Immediately after servlet is created, init method is called. Okay, let me tell you. Suppose if I write the same code inside a constructor, right? First constructor is called, then init method is called. Init method is passed with a parameter what? Servlet config. So my servlet object, my login servlet class is getting a reference of servlet config only when init method is called, right? Before init method is called, object is created, means constructor is called. So in constructor, will I be able to have servlet config object? It will be null at that point, right? So my servlet is getting a reference of servlet config only during initialization. So in the init method only, if I call get servlet config in init method, it will be returning an object of servlet config. Suppose if I write a constructor like this, if I write a constructor like this and write the same code, if I write the constructor like this and write the same code, get servlet config, it will be returning null, because by the time constructor is called, my servlet object is not given a reference of servlet config. when the container is calling init method is passing the servlet config. So in constructor, I will not be getting the reference of servlet config. So we have to use init method. And again you can ask one question. Suppose in my init method, if I am not using servlet config, can I write the same code inside constructor? Yes. Suppose in your init method, if you are not using servlet config, then definitely whatever you are doing in init method, you can definitely use it inside, write the same code inside constructor also. Okay.